What are the 4.5 generation jets that we'll probably see it first in each nation in War Thunder? Hello guys, once again, it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe. And yeah guys, 4.5 might be around the corner, and the reason I will say it at the end of the video. But what each nation of the game would probably see it first in the game as a better version of 4 generations that we see right now. First of all, let's start with the easy nations to talk about it. The Germans, the British, and the Italians. The Eurofighter, of course. The Eurofighter could actually be added for these 3 nations. The 3 of them use this aircraft. Amazing dogfighter, amazing at BVR, and it would be an amazing aircraft. It's a short answer and probably the most likely, in my opinion, aircraft to be added. Why? Because Germany doesn't have a top-tier jet. What would actually bring to the table here? It would actually bring performance. That's the main thing. Because if they actually want to, and they don't want to jump, I don't think right now, in terms of technology from IR missiles and of course Fox 3 missiles, which just got added, I don't think there will be basically jumping another gen of missiles right now, right? So the Eurofighter could actually come with the normal AIM-9Ms for the UK, for example, the normal AIM-9LIs for the Germans, and I think some form of improved Italian AIM-9L as well, if I'm not mistaken, the AIM-9LI, because in the official government site, it said that they actually used the AIM-9L on that aircraft as well, right? And of course, for BVR, they could actually take the M120Bs and As and whatever NATO uses right now, you know, or in the sense of the War Thunder, right? So, of course, having a room to improvement in the future with Meteors, IDSTs, and other missiles, SRAMs and stuff, right? So, yeah, the Eurofighter would be the perfect option. It would have the same missiles that we have right now, and a big jump in performance compared to the aircraft that these 3 nations actually use. I mean, Italy and the UK not so much, because they have the Gripen, which is similar-ish, you know, but still, you know what I mean. So amazing aircraft would be really, really good for these 3 nations. For France is another very easy option, the Rafal. The Rafal would be the same thing as the Eurofighter for France, right? The improvement over the old 4th generations. This aircraft is actually pretty interesting because it would have a better technology overall in radars comparing to the Eurofighter initially, you know, and of course, it could carry the same missiles that we are using right now in the Mirage, right? So the MatAWG 2, the Mika with the radar seeker. Even if they want to, they can add the Mika IR. Apparently, it's not what they want right now, but it could. And of course, it would be amazing in dogfights, amazing in BVR. It would be just a step up from everything that France has right now, right? And the plus on that, the cherry on top of the Rafale, is that it actually uses some technologies that it makes the aircraft a little bit more stealthy than some of the other counterparts that we're going to talk about it today, making it a little bit harder to see on radar. Basically, you have to take a little bit more of a step up and get a little bit closer to actually see these aircraft in radar. Is it too much? Is it a stealth aircraft? No, but it is a little bit more. So a great option for France. Then we have some other good options over here for Japan, of course, Mitsubishi F2, very similar to an F-16, enlarged wings, and overall very similar performance, but technically it could actually turn a little bit more, but it would have a little bit more drag as well because of the enlarged wings, right? The radar, I think, is the good part about this aircraft. IASA radar from the get-go, amazing radar, one of the best radars out there when it was actually introduced into service. And of course, the missiles could actually be the missiles that we have right now as well. So of course, the AM4 and the AM3. Obviously, in the future, room for improvement is there as well. AM5 and some others could actually be used. So amazing option for Japan. And yeah, it's just what we actually need for Japan right now, to be honest. For China, there is another one. Here, it depends on the version that they want to. There are many options, but I have a feeling that the first one will be the J10. Yes, the J10 would be similar-ish to the objective of existing, like the Eurofighter or something like that. It would be, or an F-16 or something, right? It would be a lighter fighter that can do basically everything, a multi-role aircraft, right? The good part about this aircraft is that it has a lot of versions out of it. Versions with normal pulse Doppler radars based off of the Zook radar, with semi-electronic scanned array radars, We have versions with full IASA radars. We have versions that use less missiles, more missiles. In general, you could actually use the PL-8, the PL-12 missiles that we already have in the game. And in the performance part, I mean, it would be very similar to other aircraft that we have in the game, with a little bit more spice to it. Even using a very odd gun, which is the Grisha 23, right? So it would have the good old 23mm Soviet gun. It wouldn't be very good for top tier, but still, with the missiles that he has, it would do fine. For China, it would be it. There are some other options for each of these countries, but these are the main ones, and I think these are the ones that are going to come first. Then we start to go for nations that are a little bit harder to actually introduce something. Why is that? Well, one example is Sweden, the Sweden's, right? It's Swedish, sorry. The Gripen is already there on performance, to be honest. It is on par with something like the Eurofighter. Might be a little bit, you know, worse here and there, better here and there, but in general, it is kind of there. The radar is very similar to something like the Eurofighter would have, and the missiles are basically the same, AIM-9Ms, basically, and of course, MO-20s, the RB-99, right? But depending on what they want to add, for example, if they just, I don't know, don't care, they want to add an IRIS-T for the Eurofighter, the Gripen E could actually be coming. If, you know, they add a version of the Rafal with IASA radars or other IASA radars that are too big, we have always the Gripen E, you know. So at first I would say that the Gripen C is probably going to be the one that they're going to keep it, maybe even introduce better versions of the MO-20 or anything like that, but eventually the Gripen E would be the option. I just think that it will take a little bit more time, considering how Gaijin takes Sweden and its introductions normally, okay? For the Israelis and the US, we can kind of talk about it together. The US and the Israelis, they have one problem. They never had a purpose-built 4.5 generation jet. All the 4.5 that they actually use are basically modernized aircraft that they already have. So you can expect here for the US and F-16, like the Israelis, fully modernized F-15s, fully modernized F-16s, you know. US has the ability to carry the F-18E, for example, but we don't even have the Legacy Horner yet, so I don't see them adding an F-18E out of nowhere when the 4.5 start to happen, right? So expect better versions of the F-15, better versions of the F-16. What does that mean? Better radars, better missiles, better avionics, better RWRs, better countermeasures, more missiles, being able to carry more missiles, stuff like that. Better radars especially, right? F-15Es, you know, the Cs with its upgrades, better versions of the APG-68, like the V9 and stuff. So, yeah, that would be the main change for these aircraft. So expect these aircraft to be in the same level of performance that we already have in these aircraft, but obviously with much improved avionics and radars and stuff. The clear, like, example here is the Sufa, for example, that is going to be kind of the same aircraft that we already have with the F-16D, but completely different in its avionics and like missiles and radars and everything. So expect something like this, okay? The missiles would be, of course, for the Israelis, if they add, of course, initially, you know, the Python 3, the AIM-9M. If they want to, a Python 4, you know, the Derbies, the Derby ER in the future, which has basically an extended range out of it. So expect something like this, okay? And the last nation that I wanted to talk about it sits in the middle, right? It is basically the same principle as the US and the Israelis. It is just upgrades to existing aircraft, but with some spice to it. So two options over here that I think are the most likely ones, the Su-35 and the MiG-35. Why is that? Because Gaijin tends to kind of have a weird, like, sometimes they add a prototype, sometimes they don't, for the both, like for the USSR, for US and stuff. So we can kind of only guess what they want to add. But I have a feeling that the Su-35 and the MiG-35 are going to be the first 4.5 generations that we see. Especially the MiG-35, that I think is a little bit less capable than Su-35 in general, right? You would have more missiles, 4 pylons, and of course R-77s if they want to, the R-77-1, the R-73 technically M, the R-74M, whatever they want to add. they can add it. And of course the good old R27s, the good old normal R73s, the good old normal R77s as well, multi-role options. That would be probably the first aircraft, and it would be improving in avionics, in radars. I mean, PESA radars would be the standard, with even options of an ESA radar. That would be the option. And of course the Su-35 could actually be added as well, with the thrust vectoring engines and everything. So it's kind of a mix. It's a super Su-27 and a super MiG-29, right? So expect one of these options to be the first one in this realm of better aircraft in the future. And how soon can we see these? I mean, I said this in many videos. I don't know exactly, but I have a feeling that it won't take too long for us to see these aircraft. That's one of the reasons that I'm doing this video, is because of that. Because I really have a feeling that Germany is lacking on their performance. So unless we see kind of a sub-3 or something that can carry, I don't know, F-16s or something that can carry M120s and stuff for the Germans, I see the Eurofighter coming very soon. And once the Eurofighter comes, it's another Pandora box that opened, right? We will see Rafal shortly after, better versions of F-16s, F-15s, F-2, J-10s and stuff. So expect this type of thing, okay guys? I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about my list. See you guys, bye.